when you have managers, they are process driven. They have an efficiency focus, and those are actually the good parts of it. They typically reinforce rules that can be good as well. They also like to take more credit. They lead by authority, and they create more followers instead of leaders. And those are just some of the negative sides of managers. They act like a boss. Do it because I said so. And that does work in some organizations. And if that's the type of leader you are, you're going to see no problem with this. Great. But what I think you want is more leaders. When I think about that, it's about people that are people-driven, that are innovation-focused, that are doing things that have never been done before. So if you're in an industry where things are changing quickly, there's a lot of leadership required, not management. And so you want to make sure that you are able to do this. Now, leaders are leading by influence, not authority. They're also developing more leaders across the organization. They are people-driven, right? We talked about that. They break through new boundaries. So that's the way I look at the leaders inside of an organization. It doesn't matter about the title. We just want to transform more managers into leaders.
Welcome to Grow Think Tank. This is the one and only place where you will get insight from the founders and the CEOs of the fastest growing privately held companies. I am the host. My name is Gene Hammett. I help leaders and their teams navigate the defining moments of their growth. Are you ready to grow?
Today, we're going to look at 3 proven frameworks to transform managers into leaders. You can also interpret this as tools. We're going to give you a little bit of the training, but also going to give you access to something that we feel like will move your leadership skills to that next level. It's absolutely free, but let's just unpack these tools, these frameworks, if you will, around this. Before we dive into it, let's just get this out on the page. Why would you want to turn managers into leaders? We need managers. It's not about the title. It's about the role and the function they play within the organization. For example, managers are typically very focused on the process and efficiencies of how everything works together. They are optimizing for a very different kind of experience that you want to make sure that you're aware of. Some of the things that I have come in contact with before around this, looking at some of my notes here, is when you have managers, they are process driven. They have an efficiency focus, and those are actually the good parts of it. They typically reinforce rules that can be good as well. They also like to take more credit. They lead by authority, and they create more followers instead of leaders. And those are just some of the negative sides of managers. They act like a boss. Do it because I said so. And that does work in some organizations. And if that's the type of leader you are, you're going to see no problem with this. Great. But what I think you want is more leaders. When I think about that, it's about people that are people-driven, that are innovation-focused, that are doing things that have never been done before. So if you're in an industry where things are changing quickly, there's a lot of leadership required, not management. And so you want to make sure that you are able to do this. Now, leaders are leading by influence, not authority. They're also developing more leaders across the organization. They are people-driven, right? We talk about that. They break through new boundaries. So that's the way I look at the leaders inside of an organization. It doesn't matter about the title. We just want to transform more managers into leaders and inspire ownership across the organization because of that leadership. Now, one way to get there is by up-leveling your skills within your own game of leadership. And so we're going to give you the 3 proven frameworks to transform managers to leaders, and just give you a free resource if you want to go deeper into those things. So the first one is create more accountability. Every organization I talk to says we could do better in this area. They want people that in a meeting, things get assigned or things that need to get done. Someone says, I'll do it. They want to make sure that those things actually get done. They get done on time, they're the right standard, the right quality. And a lot of that accountability is falling into the gaps or the holes, if you will, within the organization. And if we have that over time, obviously it's not very efficient. And so one of the things that you want to make sure you do is tighten up your communication, what's expected. Because when you set up for accountability, you are having much clearer conversations. We talk about this as explicit conversations or explicit communication, if you will, inside of our leadership training and leadership development. And it is communicating in a way that can't be misunderstood. So we walk our clients through the 7 elements of an effective request. And I know it sounds like a lot, but when you have all of those key elements and you pay attention, you're not lazy, you will have someone that is taking ownership. And you add with that making better agreements. These agreements are those little moments at the end of a conversation where you're saying, all right, so we've been talking about this project or this new thing that's going on. I want to make sure that you own that. And let's just go through this. And those questions, off the top of my head are going to look a little bit like this. What does good look like? What does excellent look like? You want to make sure that you are asking these questions because you want to make sure you're on the same page. You want to talk about the date. You want to talk about what is getting in the way of them being able to do this by the end of the week. I assume that everyone has lots of things to do, and you should probably make the assumptions. You probably have a lot of things to do, and you can't just say, I'm going to have that to you tomorrow, because you don't know what else they've committed to. You don't know what their schedule looks like. And so it's a little bit of a negotiation around this. And this ownership aspect is another part of the agreement where you want them to not just own, the outcome. You want them to own the process and the challenges that may arise. So your job is to get them to accept ownership as a two-way street. You're going to give them and trust them, but they're accepting it very clearly, explicitly. And if you do that consistently with patience and you coach people through, you will have a much easier time holding people accountable because you have an effective request, you have these powerful agreements. All this works together to create your a little bit more structure and intention in your leadership. Now, if you want the tools that go along with this, I'm going to go ahead and mention it. We're going to, go deeper with all of these things that we're talking about today. But if you want to unlock something that's completely free, it's Leadership Skills Mini Course for CEOs. It's a mouthful. All you have to remember is genehammett.com/leadership skills. And that will help you get the detail behind this. We actually walk you through the 7 elements of an effective request. We actually walk you through the powerful agreements and give you some tools behind that. You have some worksheets, frameworks, all of that stuff provided inside that, absolutely free. You just have to go and sign up. We do ask you to sign up because we actually put you in another system. We need your information. We're not just going to drop off a couple of videos to you because you probably wouldn't do it anyway. So we want to make sure that you are supported, and we're going to put you inside of our learning management system as a free user. And just to make sure that's clear, just go to genehammett.com/leadership skills. Are you an Inc. 5000 CEO looking for a unique experience? My hope is that you want to take your business to the next level. You want to gather with other Inc. 5000 CEOs, which just isn't available in most of the peer groups that you're probably able to connect with. But when we get together, it's an intimate group of people that are growing their businesses. We're learning from each other about strategy, about execution, leadership, culture, and all things growth. Plus, we actually designed this to have deep conversations to get to the real issues so that you can really grow your business. And we do something fun. We take time to race Porsche 911s. You'll be paired with a professional driver, and it'll be something that you can do that's very different than you've ever done before. Join us for this event. It's invite only, but find out more details at genehammett.com/events. Let's look at the second framework behind this. And I'm going to say this very bluntly. You've got to master difficult conversations. You've got to be really good at this. If you're a leader, then you want to make sure that you're giving people feedback. You want to make sure when people are out of alignment, that you're having these difficult conversations, that you're no longer avoiding them. The cost of avoidance is astronomical inside of organizations. And you want to make sure that people are, getting the kind of feedback that they need. We go through very specific frameworks and we make sure that you are doing this. Now, you may have another way to learn this. Maybe you're going to read a book. Great. But we have something that's probably about 20 minutes, 25 minutes training with some worksheets. They just walk you through the before, the during, and the after a difficult conversation. I will say that I don't think they're really that difficult. The only reason I call it that is because that's what everyone else calls it. I think they're more like opportunities. Here's my reasoning. If someone's out of alignment, the conversation is an opportunity to get them back in alignment. I'm going to go on a limb and say that person doesn't know that they're out of alignment. They don't want to be out of alignment. And if you had a conversation with them, I'm not saying this is easy, but if you had the conversation with them and they all of a sudden realized and they said, oh, I didn't know I was coming off that way. I didn't know if I was being that way to others on the team, whatever it may be, then they will remember that forever. And they will remember you being as a person who were the catalyst to their growth and understanding. I know this is the smallest thing in the world, but just something talking about going back. I remember I had a roommate. It has nothing to do with business, but maybe you'll get the idea. And the room, I own the house. and she was just a roommate there. She's paying me rent. And this was about 30 years ago. And she said, do you know how the cabinet doors work in the kitchen? And I said, well, yeah, I know how they work. And she said, well, why don't you close them? Because I wasn't paying attention to it. And so it was a blind spot inside of what I was doing. And I remember her today as being the person who, it wasn't that difficult a conversation, but they were added to my understanding that I should clean up behind myself. I shouldn't just leave it for someone else, that I should do this. Now, it made me understand the difficulties of being married. I've been married over 20 years with the same wife. We're in a great place. We love each other, but we wouldn't be here if I wasn't picking up after myself. And hopefully you understand what I'm saying. And it's just an interesting way to look at this. You want to be the person that adds value to someone, maybe identifies that blind spot in these difficult conversations. You've got to master it. You've got to be really good at it. You got to be able to bring the right attitude and the tone to the conversation, choose the right words, get the right change in behavior. All of that is unpacked in the framework. And if you want that, it's absolutely free. It's about 20 minutes or so. Just go to genehammett.com/leadership skills, and you will be able to get it absolutely for free. Let's go through the third framework behind this. And looking down at my notes, I just want to make sure that we're all synced up together. Empower your people to make decisions. When you empower them to make decisions, they are thinking for themselves. They're going to overcome the challenges. They're going to innovate. But if you make the decisions for them, they'll never learn to trust themselves and be confident to make future decisions. And so you'll be surrounded by people who aren't making decisions. And that, my friends, is not the best way to lead a company that's expected to grow and expected for you to create a team around you that really understands how to make decisions. So one simple way to do that is to empower people more through a framework. The mini version of that, I'm going to unpack it more inside of a longer training that's absolutely free, but the mini version is the 3-3-1 empowerment framework, which is 3 questions. Those 3 questions look like this. What's the real problem? What's causing the problem or what's causing the issue? And what impact is this issue having across the organization? It could be customers, it could be projects, profitability, it could be other team members. But those 3 questions allow you to align around what we're really going to talk about. And then the next 3 is around what are the 3 options available to you? You can be more than 3 options, but you want to make sure we at least look at the 3 options so that we are, choosing from the accurate list. We're not just picking the first thing that comes in mind and say, oh, that's the solution. Let's just go. Rarely does that work, but you want to make sure there's 3 questions and then 3 options, and then finally 1 decision. Get them to make a decision. Get them to trust themselves over time. Don't rush this. Be patient. Inside the training, we go through a little bit more detail. It's not that long. It's probably 10 minutes, maybe 12, if you will, but it walks you through the 3-3-1 empowerment framework. It'll allow you to really create structure around empowering those around you. We also have a concept in there called empowering your right-hand person. And it really has some interesting stories and tools that you can use. Very tactical. We are trying to create very proven and practical leadership tips inside this course. If you want to get all of the things we talked about today, it's absolutely free. Just go to genehammett.com/leadership skills. There's no capitalization in that, just leadership skills. And you will actually be able to download that for free. We will put you into our learning management system. You will get a series of videos, and it really is a great way for you to be a better leader. We do ask that you don't share the videos with anyone. Don't give them your login. It's absolutely free. Just allow others to fill out the form. Be great to do that. So all that being said, this is about the 3 proven frameworks to transform managers into leaders. And the skills are more accountability, difficult conversations, and empowering people to make decisions. Now, are there more skills to leadership? Absolutely. But these are really important for you to do and to master in your journey to being an exceptional leader. My name is Gene Hammett. I'm an executive coach. I work with fast growth founders, CEOs, and their teams. We have a leadership development company inside this organization to really support teams as they want to grow. And we put coaching in the hands of managers to turn them into leaders. If that's interesting to you, make sure you go to genehammett.com and schedule a call. Let's talk about what's going on in your organization. Let's put together a plan. We have a leadership performance audit that we walk you through, and then that creates the plan for you to focus. And all you have to do is sign up at genehammett.com and schedule a call today. That's our time today. When you think of growth and you think of leadership, think of Growth Think Tank. As always, live with courage. We'll see you next time.